All right. So, want to keep track of our progress and our goals here. Might be good to kind of have some sort of model of what we're going for here. And I feel like there's kind of two directions that we've been pushing in. So one is creating binaries for each system, right? Because we identified that that was going to be a requirement. And we need all of these. Okay. And then the other side was in the actual development of the application in Dart. So the actual, I'll just say Dart application. Let me capitalize this because for some reason I capitalized the other one. And then in our Dart application, we wanted to kind of create the bindings, and then kind of progressively test more complicated interaction with the API. So we can say our first interaction was the version, and then we'll say get version, get we'll say set status message, and then set or a friend request, send a friend request. Okay, for the POC again, just a POC. Okay, so far, let's say we can say goals and then remaining. I kind of remove things as we go. Okay. So we already got the Linux one. That was done. We've started working on Android. And then we were able to create the bindings and get the version. So this is where we're at now. What's remaining? We've been working on creating a TokTok instance, which is the next step in doing the status message or the friend request. All right, so creating a TokTok instance. In the last video, we ran into an issue where Dart is designed to be, it has this sound null safety design to the language itself, right? Where, during initialization, you're not allowed to have any null variables. And this is like a choice that they made to make applications null safe, or not completely null safe, but like we saw that there were some ways around it, right? But to push a paradigm of not allowing nulls in your code, right? Which is interesting, and definitely not something I'm used to from Java or Python, right? That's or I guess just lower level languages in general. So that's interesting to me. And of course, we're trying to interoperate with C, and we saw that 90% of the TokTok APIs expect you to pass in null pointers to some objects that they will initialize for you, and so those two things are directly at odds with each other. But I did a little bit of research since the last video, and one interesting thing that they came up with was that there is some sort of null pointer class that is specifically for this purpose inside FFI. So naturally, it looks like the foreign function interface has encountered this issue before, I'm sure, with other applications that are looking for interoperability with C and C++. And so this is kind of their workaround. So we are going to try and figure out how to use null pointer. And then the other thing is we were trying to get the Android usage to work, and we were running it, but it was not able to find the .so file Now, it was saying it couldn't find the .so file. My belief still, since the last video, is that this .so file that we have compiled for Linux will not work on our Android emulator. Just like I don't think it would work on real Android devices. We are going to have to compile our own binary, native to Android. And I think, again, a little bit of research is that that's going to come from installing the Android NDK and creating bTox core as a project in Android Studio and compiling through that. Now, part of me wonders if I really need to create a project in Android Studio, if we have the command line tools for Android Studio. But we're just trying to do this, one-time upfront installation for the POC. I don't want to get too sucked into the command line tools. I think it would make sense for an Android noob like myself to just open up Android Studio, create that project, and then see if we can work through it. So we've got 2 leads, one for each of the directions we were going in. And I think the Android Studio one is probably where we're going to spend most of this video, but who knows, maybe we'll come back to those null pointers. I'll have to look them up again. All right, let's see here what we can dig up. First off, let me start Android Studio. I always forget where I put that Android Studio binary. It was like in share, local share or something, right? User local share Android Studio. And then all right, that's starting up. Here we go. And so essentially, I think what I'm doing is I'm creating a new project, and I'm gonna clone it fresh, just as if this is a completely new Android Studio project that was written in C. And I know that's not what the Tux core library is, but I want to see if that's enough. I'm also curious. I don't know exactly how the Android NDK compilation works, but I assume that, at least when we were using GCC and we compiled the binaries for Linux, we were able to just install some of the libraries that we were dependent on, like libsodium. I don't know if that's going to be the case here for Android Studio. I think this might be more of a situation where we have to compile those into Android binaries ourselves, those dependencies first, and then somehow link them to this, or maybe it can do it all in one shot. I don't know, but I think we're going to need all of our code together if we think that we're going to be able to deliver this. So definitely some complications there. All right. This is interesting. Okay, let me pull it over here. Okay. Okay. Link my GitHub. Everything's linked. That's all right. Everything's linked to everything else. That was weird. It didn't work. There we go. All right, verification. And then I will clone a repository. This is strange. I don't think that. It's only allowing me to clone repositories that are like my actual um, ugh. Okay, maybe we just need to clone it separately and then open it, I guess. I thought this clone repository would allow me to clone anybody's repository, but I guess it's only mine, which is strange. Okay, and then if I open, I can choose, I wonder if this is supposed to be like a special project that already has some business. Okay, let's start a new project. Wear OS, phone and tablet, native C++, there we go. Application, we'll just call it TokTok Android. Okay, package name, example. Wow. I'm not even sure how much this matters. Okay, let's try to avoid too many guesses, except for the educated ones, of course. All right, let's go back to that TokScore library. Okay. Does our package name matter? I'm not even sure what package name means in this context for like C files or C project. Maybe it has to do with Android being Java based. Your app will run on approximately 98.6% of devices. Okay, that's probably enough. Build configuration language. I'm not going to change the defaults because I don't know enough to do that. This seems like a bad package name. Let's do org. I may have to change all of this. I don't know if I'm completely ruining this. Let's say org just means TokScore Android. There we go. No real understanding beyond that. Default toolchain for C++ depends on Android NDK version. Okay, that should be. Ooh, what is? I actually don't know. Is TokScore written mostly in C, but there is a little C++. Is it? I don't know what C++ version they're using. Should I use a later version? Clients compiling. I'd like to say that we are now at a point where there's no like Android specification, so we're a little outside, I guess, the normal expectations just a little bit. We finally broached that gap. Okay, let's use the default toolchain. Let's not get too wild here. Okay, so here we go. JetBrains, Android Studio. Main activity. Now, how do we load binary TokScore Android? So where do I put my oh, right here, CPP. Make list.text native lib. Okay, so this is the C. Okay. And then this is cool. And then C make lists. I wonder if I can just drop in my own C make. All right. So obviously CPP, this is where we're supposed to drop in the TokTok business. Let's try that. Okay, there's going to be a lot of experimentation here. I might have to default on my default on Google here soon, but let's see. Okay, so first off, inside my existing projects repo, we already have the TokTok library. Let me grab this real quick, and let's just drop this into CPP. To directory CPP. Okay, so we drop in all of TokTok. And let's, oh man, let's overwrite. Let's use the TokTok CMake. Now this is copied directly from, oh, I copied the build too. That was probably not the right way to do that. Okay, hold on. Okay, so here's CPP. Now CMake lists was here before, and then there was another, this native lib.cpp. And then here's TokTok. I think I can leave this here. It's just unrelated. Whoa. All right. Let's go to main activity here. All right. And what are we doing? Activity main binding. We are importing TokTok Android data binding, activity main binding. System.load library, TokTok Android companion object. That is implemented, a native method that is implemented by the TokTok Android native library, which is packaged with this application. External function. Oh my gosh. Okay, I think I'm starting to put together what's going on here. The same way we needed the bindings, of course, for the same way we needed all of the bindings for Dart to connect. It's almost like we need bindings to Kotlin for Android and then to Dart. That's wild. There's layers to this. There's layers to this. Okay, hold on. I want to say when we get into serious bindings that there's already some business here. All right. There's some TokTok clients. I'm curious about some of these TokTok clients, what they use. Are they using Flutter? Let's see. Probably none of these are using Flutter, but what are they using? Oh wow, this is only on desktop. This whole thing is in C++. Dang. All right. This is okay. TokTok mobile Tox client, bTox, written in Dart. Look at that. Why couldn't I look that up? Wait, hold on. Take me back. Written largely in Dart. Look at this. It's a Flutter application. Official TokTok mobile Tox client. Official TokTok mobile Tox client. Look at that. A work in progress class platform Tox client. Oh my gosh. Man, this is so interesting because when I did my initial research before this POC, I noticed that there was not an application that crossed all the platforms that I had, which is why I wanted to do this, right? And if let me actually see if I can find that. Tox clients. bTox clients. Okay. If you look through, what you'll see is that there's no clients that span all the top 5. You'll see that they either all ditch on Android or they ditch on iOS, right? Like the mobile versions are really tough to. It's like there's a lot of people who have desktop apps and a lot of people who have mobile apps, but I didn't see anybody that fully, crossed the bounds. But I don't see bTox on here. Look at that. It's that iOS and Android where there's very limited support, but there's a lot of desktop clients, or there are mobile clients that are either for Android or iOS, but then they don't exist on desktop. Wow. And you'll see iOS has none right here. That's a complete none. Okay, so what is bTox? Well, this is interesting. Okay, this is going to help the POC. So clearly they thought it was possible, but it's still work in progress. Let's see, nothing in the last 6 months. I wonder if there's only a few dedicated developers. Look at that, 6 contributors still on this. If my POC goes well, I might know enough about Dart to actually contribute to this. Look at that, FFI. Oh, this is so cool. Okay, so these people are trying to do something very similar to what my POC is showing. That probably holds good for the POC. I still think the POC is valuable because I don't know anything about the Tox core libraries or how to develop a Flutter app. So it's still super interesting to do it, and I'm still going to finish the POC, obviously. But it's nice to know that there's a clear light at the end of the tunnel. I wonder how far in they are. I'm curious. Like, did they 2 branches, 1 tag? Do they have releases? No, branches. Nightly. Work in progress. Our CI might be helpful as it contains working build instructions for all platforms. Get out of town. Ooh, that's now the best resource I found online, if that's really there. Looks like they're developing mainly in Russian or Latvian. Sorry, looks like Latvian seems to be everything's translated from Latvian. Wow. Okay. So first off, they have this. I gotta look through this repo a little bit. I mean, I can't just ignore this. Fonts, images. Where do they store their binaries? They already have the binaries. Tools, test. It's Android. They don't have like a source with the binaries in it. That's interesting. Okay, Windows. Let's look at the CI. Workflows. Okay, pull request. Prepare, deploy, prepare, common CI, workflows. Okay, workflows. Okay, Okay, inside the workflows folder, I do not see a common CI.yaml. So what are we referring to here? What is draft? Pages. I don't know if the CI is there yet. How large is the actual application? Like, what is that looking like? Let's see, lib. Oh, they have a lot here. Look at that. Okay, tox.dart is tox address, get address. Let's do tox. I think this is a wrapper. Tox options. Interesting package FFI typed data. All right. All right, I'm not going to spend forever in here. I think it is super interesting. Okay, so they have an FFI library that has all of the bindings that I'm guessing they created. Or maybe they're manually, I don't think they used FFI gen. That's what it is. Or is this FFI gen? You know what? I can check the pub spec for this. Pub spec YAML. Look at that. Oh wait, this is dev dependencies. FFI gen, they did use it. Wow, look at all their dependencies. Background services, environment. These people are building a real application. This is no POC. This is wonderful. Okay, so still some confusion, I think, because there is no, wow, they include a lot more than just talks. I wonder if I was supposed to do that. Need more bindings. Interesting. Okay, I may need to cross that bridge at some point too. Okay, this is definitely going to be a huge resource, and I will be using this. I'm not going to try and build without this. That'd be a waste of time. This is phenomenal. I think this is cool here too. I think there's a lot I could learn from this application that these people are building. Also open source with a GPL3 license. This is kind of wonderful. I wonder if once I finish my POC, I'll have enough understanding to help on this project. That would be cool. You know, not every POC has to lead to starting a new project on that POC. It can lead to just having a good enough knowledge to help on similar projects. This is cool. Okay. Long story short, though, I do not see a CI here with like a workflow that shows or is this a different, sorry, is this a different application? What is that? TokTok CI tools .github. Oh, you know what? Does TokTok have its own like CI tools repo? Curious here. Search. Yes. Okay. Common tools for building TokTok repositories on CI. Okay. GitHub, workflows. There we are, common CI. Okay. Ubuntu 2024 actions checkout, build modifier, buildifier. Check buildifier warnings. Okay, that's cool. Ubuntu with submodules, recursive, restyled. Okay, deploy Android. What does this do? Oh, there's a bunch of Flutter stuff in here. QTox, required false. Arguments to pass to CMake, required false. Production, description. Jobs. What? There's a lot here. This is wild to get this baby to run on to get it to run on Android. Look at all this. Or to deploy. Wow. Okay, and then there's a Mac OS and a Windows. I don't see iOS on here. That's also interesting. Or maybe it is. It's one of these, and I just don't know things well enough. Like, what is app image? No, to build on Alpine. Runs on Ubuntu. Oh, man. This is so... Okay. All right. Clearly, people have spent a lot of time trying to do this already, and it looks like it actually... Yeah, it may not be so straightforward. Let's keep pushing through and see where we can get. Oh, I forgot. The whole reason I came here, man, I think we lost like 15, 20 minutes looking at these repos of other people doing what I'm trying to do, or who have already done it. Oh, man. Okay, hold on. Let's go back. Bindings. That's why I came here originally. The question is, you see these node bindings? This is another thing they've already, people have been working on this idea of someone else may have already created the bindings for me. Let's see, is there anything for Kotlin or for Java? A lot of Haskell stuff. Is Haskell, am I sleeping on Haskell? Do people use Haskell a lot? Look at this for a message, for all these things. What is there a type of, look at that. There must be a common, is for web applications? I know what message pack is, and I didn't realize how popular Haskell was in this community. I guess Haskell bindings to CTOX core implementation. C bindings to the Haskell implementation. Wow. So they not only have like a C tox core, they have a Haskell tox core, and then they have bindings from Haskell to C and from C to Haskell. Yeah, look at that. Haskell tox core implementation. That's wild. They implemented the whole thing again in Haskell. I saw online that they were implementing the whole thing again in Rust. There we are. JVM tox core C, Java, Scala, Kotlin, bindings to tox core. Boom. That is what we were looking for. What is this? Kotlin tox core C. TokTok Android. Tox Android client. I love how they have a bunch of clients on here too. Oh, this is from 2016. Showing new modern design and all the basic UI interactions, no connection, message, or audio. This is cool. I don't know. While we're derailed here, or not derailed, but while we're in this, I was gonna say, when I was looking into this project for a peer-to-peer instant messenger, I saw Tox and Jammy as kind of the two applications that have a kind of a, I'm not going to say the only two because there are other ones too, but something that was really interesting to me about these applications was one, the fully peer-to-peer nature using a distributed hash table for address lookup and initializing connections. So it's completely peer-to-peer. That was interesting. And then also the open source of it all. Now, one thing I noticed is like Jammy has a ton of official clients. Like it's one cohesive, giant, beautiful. I think it's pushed by like they've already done it, right? And Tox was pushing more like they have the backbone and they don't have their own clients. But maybe that was a misconception because it seems like the TokTok Foundation has a ton of their own clients. To be honest with you, a lot of these seem like they were clients made by other people that were then added to the TokTok Foundation. Like it's kind of grown organically from interested parties. And that's not to say that that's not how Jammy is on every possible. I think if you go to their GitHub, it's insane. They have a completely separate application for like every possible device. It is wild. It's not like they've built a cross-platform application using Flutter or something like that. No, it's they have like a full, real, giant, beautiful Windows application. They have a full, real, giant, iOS application, and it's wonderful. And they clearly there's a company or a centralized organization that's working on this professionally, which is also amazing. Or at least that was my. I shouldn't say that I know all these things. That's my understanding from the research I did at the beginning of this, right? Okay. So we are a bit off track. We did find what we were looking for, right? Those the JVM. What is KT ToxCore C? Is this this is an initial commit from how long ago? From 2 years ago. Main chat tox main.kt package main interop C interop native interop tox.def tox.av headers. This is some sort of Kotlin. Yeah, I'm not completely sure what's going on here. Okay, I don't think these are the bindings I'm looking for, but the JVM bindings might be the way to go. Let's look at that. The base Tox4j API without any implementation. Now, what is Tox4j? Maybe that's what I'm looking for. Here we go. JVM ToxCore C. Kotlin binding to C ToxCore. Java should be mostly supported. There may be issues. Find one, open a ticket. Beautiful. Okay, Kotlin. Now, how does this work? Is there a Gradle files, bindings to ToxCore? Okay, so here's their C++, Tox4j. So I guess Tox4j was the old application that did this. Oh, and they have core and AV, they have it all. And then in C++, look at that. It's already all copied over. I was starting to build this exact thing, wasn't I? Ah, so cool. They have CMake lists, it's all here. Okay, so this is wonderful. I wonder if this will just work then. I can just build this. Look at that. All these builds. Ah. Okay, so the next question I have is, do they have instructions on how I should build this? Because I think this will build my native library. Or maybe I still need to build that in Android Studio with the NDK. I'm not completely sure. But I know we're closer. Okay, so let's see. What did the README say? Tocklin binding to cTox core. Build.bazel? Bazel? Okay, proto library, CC library, JVM library, JVM test. How does this build the binaries? What is this Docker file? Scripts, work, Android.make. Whoa. NDK home. So if you have NDK installed, you have to install the NDK. And then there's a make file. Common.make. Android NDK R21. Wild. Absolutely wild. Patches? Okay. Okay. I think we're getting closer. Let me keep going through this Docker file. I think we're learning something. Java Kotlin code changes a lot. Let's see. Native code changes less frequently. libtox4jc.so. Look at that. Okay, run. Java. From Ubuntu 22.04. Okay, so here's what I think is this is a Docker file. I think that builds this binary. Scripts build host. x86 64 Linux Android. Wild. I think, yeah, look at that, include Android.make. That's host specific. Okay. Host specific information. And then host lib install and then Gradle. It's like it compiles the C and then it compiles the Kotlin. Right. It's compiling the C, then it compiles the Kotlin. And then there's some sort of, oh, and the Kotlin, okay, it's probably going to rely on this C, JVM tox core. That's where we're putting the installation. Okay, and then was this like turn the Java into binary? I do not fully understand it. But I think this Docker file is doing like exactly what I want to do. Um, oh, they have a documentation. Core design. This is beautiful. Look at this. Oh my gosh. All right. Well, this video is now mostly me going through this documentation on how someone else has already done what I need, but this is, I think, more valuable than me stumbling through it. These people have thought about it. This is excellent. Okay. API should remain stable. Stable ABI. Long-term binary compatible. Minimize human errors. Prefer self-consistency over minor readability improvements. Provide one and only. Unclear what they mean by, like, okay. Provide one and only way to perform a certain task. Readability is an important criterion for API design since clear client code. Given the choice between making a few call sites more readable and keeping the API self-consistent, we prefer consistency. Look at that. I had a question about this, and they answered it like immediately. Okay. Try to use types in semantically meaningful way. Type def. See type def keyword as an abstraction. If the actual type is irrelevant, we create an alias to abstract away that implementation. For example, all the error codes are type def enums, but they might as well be defined as int. A counterexample is struct tox options, which is a struct per API. The fact that it is a struct is part of the contract provided by the API and is therefore not abstracted away. There's a pointer, meaning they can have implicitly converted to and from point pointer, making it possible to pass a tox instance as a user data pointer in other APIs. The call site of a number of functions could be slightly improved in a few specific scenarios by returning the error code instead of passing it as an out parameter. The functions and useless functions kept for legacy reasons. This is interesting. It's like the Dart bindings for my application will have to connect to the Java bindings, or sorry, the Kotlin bindings, which will connect to the actual C APIs. See, that extra layer is concerning, right? I mean, how do you know? Like these changes that they're making. I don't think FFI Gen, when it created my bindings, you know, made any decisions like this, like changing the input or output parameters. It was all a direct one-to-one from the C type definitions to the Dart ones, right? Like this is a. I see. I'm wondering if I can actually use this, but let's see. startup options. This is interesting. Okay. Alrighty. Tox4j, high security, stability requirements, hundreds of millions of people around the world. That I fucking love. Thank you. Security issue would have catastrophic consequences. Slightly less critical, but still important, is the stability of the library. Underlying our Android app is unstable. It's annoying in the mildest use cases, catastrophic to a single person. Slightly different way than most other open source projects. Strict design and code review processes that no contributor, including project owners, can violate. We have software managing our source code repository that ensures the code review process is followed. For any non-trivial development, we follow a rigorous design process. This is wonderful. Wow. First stage is the design overview. Okay, wow. They're pretty strict, and I love it. Okay, core protocol. The core network protocol, which establishes secure communications to the channel. Node, IPv6, IPv4. DHT bootstrap. With a node's response packet, echo request, echo response. It seems a little bit unrelated to the JVM Tox core setup. Okay. I think I'm still curious in this. I don't know if it'll actually work for me because of those decisions that they made during the bindings, but I don't know if I'd have to make similar decisions. Like, I'm not sure if the decisions they made were design decisions or if they were required by the, I don't know, qualities about Kotlin, or Kotlin interoperating with C. I'm not going to profess to act like I know enough about this thing I'm doing for the first time to have a solid case. I think the thing that's interesting to me the most here is this Docker file that says that it'll just like spit out, or seems like it'll just spit out exactly what I'm trying to do. I don't want to try this once. I'm not sure if there's a, I guess what you have to do is like clone this repo and then build a Docker image with this Docker file. And you'll have to clone the repo because otherwise, how else are you getting all of getting all these libraries? And then I think it may just work. I can just start up that container or run that container, and it'll spit out a I don't know, spit out the SO. No idea if this will all work, but um, I don't know. That thing about changing the bindings is making me nervous, right? I don't see any other way around that. And maybe it's because I don't understand it, but like at the end of the day, I think it makes sense. Like I think a core piece of this, right, is that, Dart has uh, the FFI, okay, the foreign function interface package of Dart has these C type, I don't know, representations, right? So when you copy over from, uh, when you create these bindings to those methods, you have a one-to-one connection on all of these. Um, but obviously, Kotlin doesn't have that exact, doesn't have this library like this that does that, right? So they're translating directly into the Kotlin types, right? Using, their best judgment or some design principles. I'm sure they had discussions about this, right? They've clearly documented their decision process. And then there's, how they treated the type def. And then they talk about these improvements, right? Which if I was writing, if I was writing a Kotlin application, I could, clearly just adjust to the bindings that they've created here. But I'm writing a Dart application, and I guess I don't understand if yeah, I think I'm still fundamentally misunderstanding something here, right? Because oh, wait a second. Wait a second. Hold on. Hold on. I think I'm starting to put together what's going on here. I don't know if I need the Kotlin bindings. They're generating this for me. Haha, whoa, ho, ho, ho. This is what I need, isn't it? I just need this libtox for J-C. I just need that, uh, the compilation of the C++ code for Android is what I need. The actual bindings to Kotlin so that it can be interacted with from a Kotlin Java application, I don't need that because I'm going to write my own bindings from Dart. That should, whoa, okay. I think I got too caught up in the sauce here. I don't think I need the Kotlin code at all. I just need to install this. Okay. All right, and here they have these, I don't know, they have the install host stamp. They're doing all of that here. And then I can just copy this bad boy, and then all of this about creating the bindings for my Kotlin application. Forget that. I already have the bindings for my Dart application. All right. I am going to choose to follow this because it makes more sense to me. I think I got too caught up in the Kotlin bindings. I got lost in the sauce. And I think that's because the way Android Studio presented it to me here was what are you doing? The only reason you would compile native code is for your Kotlin bindings because you're writing a Java application, because you're writing an Android application in Kotlin. Okay. Alrighty, folks. This is good. And here they're already finding it. Okay, so one thing I like about this too is this is an idea I did not have by myself that I probably should have. They have a Docker file here, automating the process of compiling for a particular platform. I could have that for each of my platforms. right? I could find a way to do that so that way, if they ever came out with, the next version of TalkScore, they made, I don't know, they 2023, right? Version 23 or something like that. I wouldn't have to do anything other than rerun my, well, probably not nothing. There might be updates required, but this process would be, codified and would not just be completely random. I think this is valuable. I think this is good, and I think I need to use this as inspiration to a certain degree. I don't think that's part of the POC, but I'm going to add it to the README. Well, no, I won't add it to the README file, but this idea that I'm manually going through a process of trying to compile the C code for each platform, which is turning out to be a large part of this POC. Which is like the most known part, but I do think that's funny that's the way this is going. But yeah, this is excellent. Okay, I want to clone this and I want to run it and I want to see if I can get just this part. Just stop her right there. Could be good. Build essential. Maybe I'm misunderstanding this. How do they do this, right? Because this is from Ubuntu. Couldn't I just do all this myself? I mean, what are they really doing here? Okay, they have do apt-get update. Okay, so this is just a bunch of things that I could install myself, right? Or have already installed for most of these things. Then they go into this directory, and then they run these build host scripts for TalkScore, protobuf, and then C++ and proto, host, libsodium, libbpx, opus, protobuf, TalkScore. This is just creating the files, and then run build host. Right, and it's this build host. Yeah, okay, and then these are the real interesting things, right? NDK, scripts, Android make, dependencies. That's what I'm really getting here by using this. Okay, let's try this. Let's not even get too complicated. Let's cd into the projects and then clone JVM TalkScore. And just clone everything these days. Let's see here. Okay, and then the Docker file. Do I even have Docker? This was a totally new Ubuntu installation when I started this project. Oh man. The following packages replace it. WM Docker. I feel like that's not what it is. Let me just. Dependencies. Oh, you have to download it and install that way. They don't have their own package? Just directly? Ah, Docker IO apparently. Let's see if that works. Yeah, look at that. Okay. I had to say, it seems strange to me that they wouldn't just have a package available. Like you would have to. I understand if you want the latest or the most stable build, right? You're not going to get that from your package manager necessarily. but I don't think that's the situation we're in. Okay, and then let's see. Is it just path? Build an image from a Docker file. Let's try Docker slash JVM. Context must be a directory. And Docker file path. Oh, because it's JVM dot Docker file and not just Docker file. Whoa. All right. Hard conversation time is is the Docker file not the highest one in the stack here? Are we saying that there's like a something else that's supposed to initiate this Docker file and that's why you put JVM dot on it? Oh man. Okay. Rude awakening time. Let's see. Maybe I have even less of an understanding about Android development. Okay. JVM-based application defines the steps to build a Docker image containing the Java virtual machine. No, okay, this is just asking how to create a JVM inside a Docker file. I am confused. All right, let me try something ridiculous, just because that's what I do these days. What if I make that a Docker file and then do that? Okay, permission denied. Ooh. What? This is ridiculous. Just works? No. Let's see. Good Lord. All right, I don't know how long this will take. Let's see here. Still working on the Android section. We didn't really test out that binary idea. Let's see if we can give it a run here while we wait for that to load. Okay, so we're supposed to pass in a pointer to Tox Air New and a pointer to Tox Options. But my question was, can I create it was called FFI null pointer, I think. Null pointer. Or maybe it's just called null pointer. Null. Oh, it was a null? Okay, hold on. Let me look that up. It was called like Dart FFI null pointer. FFI pointer thing. Null pointer is a constant of type pointer never, which represents a null pointer. Recommended way to get a null pointer. Pointer never null pointer equals null pointer. Okay, so it is a constant. Null pointer never. And can I have a pointer to Tox Options? cast it to this. Oh, get out of town. But I still can't actually use it here. Oh, but can I just pass null pointer directly in? What? 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 But will this... Uh, but how do I check if ToxAir knew, you know... I guess, okay, so here's the next question that I just don't understand, which is, this is supposed to be a pointer to ToxAir new. To bound native type parameter t. So it needs to be unsigned int. Okay, so I think the next question I have is they don't like referencing a variable in an initializer, an instance member in an initializer. So my question is, how do you deal with that? Like what's supposed to be in the initializer, or where do you put things if not in the initializer? Instance member in a constructor's initializer list. It doesn't rely on an instance member. Interesting. So the question is, the instance members can change. So you don't want an initializer that's based on anything that's not static. Is that the idea? Don't import libraries inside the source directory of another package. Prefer relative import. Explicitly initialize variables to null. No concept of uninitialized memory in Dart, and no need to explicitly initialize a variable to null to be safe. Default value of null. Don't use true or false inequality operations. Okay, well that's just, come on. Is nullable. Null to check. If you want null to result in false. Interesting. Late variables, if you need to check whether they are initialized. Write the local variable instead. Making the local variable final can present JSON strings, interpolation, curly braces, literals. These are great ideas. Are not great ideas, but this is nice that they have kind of like a design and style guide or a usage guide for the whole language. Big fan. Okay, collection literals when possible. Still looking for something about the initialization. Objects are ints where E is int. Evens, casting. Do use a function declaration to bind a function to a name. Local nested functions and closures are, it's common to have a function defined inside another one. In many cases, the function is used as a callback immediately and doesn't need a name. A function expression is great for that. Cool. Create a lambda when a tear off will do. Oh, function. Variables. Most local variables shouldn't have type annotations and should be instead declared using var final. There are two rules in wide use for when to use one or the other that are not reassigned, and var for those that are. Use var for all local variables, even ones that aren't reassigned. Never use final for locals. Avoid storing what you can calculate. Interesting. This get business is messing with me here. For simple members, in addition to using it for function expressions, members with it. That style is a good fit for simple members that just recalculate and return a value. People writing code seem to abuse it and end up with code that's hard to read. If your declaration is more than a couple lines or contains deeply nested expressions, cascades, and conditional operators are common offenders, do yourself and everyone who has to read your code a favor and use a block body and some statements. Okay, open chest. Bad. Just call update. Add their declaration when possible. Okay, name, start. Okay. Whoa. Okay, so first thing that I'm realizing here, I am not inside a constructor. Oh, God. Which is why I think they don't want me calling these methods, which makes sense. It just does. Okay, hold on. Can I define, extends. Okay, my home page state. Get out of town. It's a constructor. Promised land. There we go. This is okay. Woo. Now the question is, does the constructor run all the time? Should this instead be a static variable? I only have one TOX instance. Does the homepage state? No, the homepage state can't set to, it can't like become a new state each time we change the state. There's just the one state. I could be totally wrong. I don't know enough about I don't know enough about Dart. Okay, this is interesting. Let's see if I have figured out enough talks to call. Well, you don't pass in a talks, right? I think, yeah, I feel like that should be native library, talks library. What is that? Wait, hold on. What is talks like this? What is that doing? Excuse me? Let me go to this method. What are you doing? Opaque? Markers and type signatures. Gotcha. Okay, so this is I cannot just create a talks. That is a lie. This is okay. Okay, I think this is working. Now the question is, I have a talks. Can I print talks status? So this would be, there's probably what do we call to get status? Status, or it's like set status set. Talks self set status message. It takes a pointer to a talks, takes a status message, takes a length, and then takes an unsigned integer error. Right. Okay. Set the status message. And then is there a get status message? Oh, there's a name, a nickname. There we go. Let's try the nickname before the status message. Here's self.getName, and then where is self.setName? Self-set, no, self-get name size. Self-set name, talks name length error. Okay, here we go. Here we are. Oh no, wait, we want to call this method first before returning. Is talk self-set name not a method? Self-set. Oh, you know what? It's going to be talks library dot talks self-set name. Self-set name. You know what? Actually, can I define my own method? Let me define a wrapper for this. And maybe I want to write wrappers for all of these. I think that's what they did in the other project I was looking at, right? But let's see if we can just write a quick method like here we have void increment counter. Let's have void set name. And we'll say, I don't know why that's there. And then we'll say tox library dot tox self set name pointer to tox. Good. Name. What type is that? It's gonna be impossible. Oh, this should take a string? No. Stir. No. String. There we go. String. Name. There we are. And this takes a pointer to uint8 name. Whoa. Okay, so we need to convert our string into a pointer to uint8. There was something about this that I read, right, in the Flutter C interop. There's a there was something about this, about strings. There was something about strings somewhere in here. Whoa, linking right to Wikipedia there. Interrupt string. I swear to you, there's a string. Oh, this is what I read. That there's for UTF-8 strings, but to a uint. Okay. We are trying to convert from the string to a pointer of uint8. Completely lost on how I might do that. Do I have to go character to character and convert to uint8? Is uint8? I'm a bit confused. from address. Okay, I need to be a little bit more clear. Let's do Dart FFI string to uint8 pointer. Here we go. C header file car path int8 instead of uint8. Okay, so it's slightly different. To native UTS. To native UTF-8. Okay, so it was actually similar to what I read earlier, and I just didn't understand. That is fair. Completely fair. So what if I say native? Whoops. What if we go straight from name to native UTF-8? Whoa. And then cast to uint8. Unbloody believable. Let's say converted name. Let's copy that. There's a way there, and then we need the length. Can I just say dot size? No. Cast. No such method to call. Okay. Okay. Is there a length here? To string. To Dart string. The length must be the number of uint8s, which is just the number of bytes. UTF-8. Okay, hold on. Is it possible to say name.length? Okay. Which goes through directly. Don't know how, don't know why. It's an int, that's why. Okay, and then error is a pointer to an unsigned int. Let's create a pointer to unsigned int 8 error message gets null pointer. Unsigned int and uint are not the same. Now that, I'm not going to even lie to you, I have no idea what the difference between the unsigned int and the uint is. But we are successfully calling get, I shouldn't say successfully calling, we are not getting any errors from the linter. Okay, declaration set name isn't referenced. Okay. Now, can we set name? I want to call it on here where we say increment counter on pressed. Can I? Okay, let's do it right in here. Let's call set name mantis shrimp developer. Okay, here we go. We'll set the name there, and then we need a get name. And how does the get name work again? What was it? We just have to pass in a tox. It's that easy. So it'll be tox library get name, and then let's just put that inside this text. Dot get name, and then tox. Boom. And then what does this return? Has a type of void. What? Oh, this is get name size, returns an int, and then get name does return. Oh, you have to pass int name. Damn. So we have to convert back. All right, let's write a wrapper for that conversion. Let's say it returns string. We'll say get name, and then we call get name with JustTox, and we'll say converted name. And then we don't need error message. And then what we need to figure out is, this is just a null pointer. Oh, is it a null pointer, or do I have to call the size first to figure out the length of, am I supposed to already allocate for it? Is that the real question? Let's go back into it. Write a nickname set by to a byte array, name size, because they want me to memorize, yeah, large enough to hold the nickname. Okay, so I have to call size first. Okay, so memory, or sorry, it's this calc method, right? Let's say get name size, hold on. Returns an int, okay. Int length, size for tox. There we go. And then length, let's calc length. And then we pass converted name in, it'll be pasted there, and then return converted name dot, how do I return, oh, toString. Get out of town. Let's see if the toString actually does what I think it'll do. Part of me thinks that toString is not gonna work. Oh God, okay. And then we can just call get name here. Why is this there? One positional argument expected. What does get name? Oh, because I'm still passing a name here. Okay. There we go. All right, let's run this on Linux. Flutter run the Linux. Let's build this application. And what did I set? Set the name to Mantis Shrimp Developer. So the question is, does it show Mantis Shrimp Developer when text opens up? No. Okay, so the toString showed the address. Okay, let's close that down. The toString returned my address of the pointer instead of the actual, which makes sense, because the pointer I called toString on, not the actual content. So let's see, is there what other options do I have here? I love modern IDEs. This is beautiful. Cast. Can I cast to, is this how I casted earlier? Oh yeah, wow, cast uint8. Can I cast to back to string? A value of type pointer string can't be returned from the method getName because it doesn't. Interesting. How do I grab the address name? Let's see if we get another simple answer in the reverse direction. .decode. UTF-8.decode. But that's from U8 int list. Okay, let's ask a different question. Dart FFI pointer string pointer car uint8 to Dart string cast UTF-8 to Dart string. So I cast to UTF-8 to Dart string. There we go. Let's try this. It builds this application so quickly. Get out of town, folks. Mantis Shrimp developer. Okay, this is straightforward. To get the name, I assume the status message is the exact same. I'm gonna say this was set name or status because it's just setting a variable inside it's just interacting with the Tox object. It does not actually seem that much more difficult. So I'm going to say we have completed that. Now, this is going to be much more difficult because in order to send a friend request, we have to connect to the distributed hash table. Like we have to bootstrap, and I think I'm using that term correctly. We're going to have to bootstrap, connect to the hash table, have a memory address, have a public key and an address for the person we're trying to send the request to, and then send the request, right? So there's quite a bit of there's a significant level up to sending a friend request. This is excellent. Okay, and then Android, the binary that we were working on. Where was that? There we go. We failed, darn it. Okay, copy scripts from scripts to work JVM TokTok C scripts. No, they're copying scripts. Sorry. They're copying scripts, which is available, into work JVM TokTok C scripts, workdir JVM TokTok C. And in build context or excluded by .ignore, stat scripts file does not exist. Why did it run into that? I can see scripts, it's right there. Is it working in a different directory than I am when I say, could I say sudo docker? Ooh, or is it because I'm executing it on Docker? Oh, I got you. Okay, so let's move Docker doc, Docker file to this directory. And now, instead of build Docker, we build dot. There we go. Okay, we skipped those first few steps. I think we are now copying, cloning. Building CXX objects. Okay, so we're getting some actual compilation here. I'm I'm building. Hold on. I'm building something that has the. How do I? How do I get it after it builds? Hold on. So this is going to build and save in my work folder, in this install folder. How do I export this after it is built? Oh, I guess it'll be running and I can copy it out. We'll try that. We will try copying this file out of the Docker container after I run it. Woo. All right, I think we're getting towards the end of this video. Yeah, this is a really long one. I guess we were really just trying to see if this actually produces the compiled C core binary for Android devices. If I can extract that binary, add it into my application, and then run the Android application and it works, that would be huge. This looks promising. I have no idea what it's doing though. I mean, I understand that it's compiling something, but like, what is all this Java and then Objective-C and then PHP, plugin, Python, retention, Ruby, Rust, subprocess? Installed, a ton of cloning. Maybe those were a bunch of generic compilers, one of which was the actual C compiler we need. Okay, it was building libopus there. I saw that. Tests, some crypto stuff. That might be libsodium. Yes, there we go. I see libsodium. So it's building all of our dependencies now. ToxAv, ToxCore. Oh, ToxCore.sso. We ran that. Okay. I think it did it. Boom. This file exists now, I think. That's wonderful. Now it's doing the Java side with the Gradle daemon, which I don't actually care about, and I don't think I need. I think I just wanted this. libtox4j-c. I think. Could be wrong, but I think that's what all of this was for. All right, let's see. All right, after that brief break, cleaned up, successfully built. Can I just run this one container for a second and then copy something from it? Do I have options here? Darn. Oh, I think I just want to run this. Need sudo for everything. Whoa, that was wrong. There we go. And now, gotta remember the old Docker commands. Okay, so maybe there isn't anything running. I thought I ran it. Maybe it's not up yet. Oh, is it like a, there we go, namespace situation. Yeah. Xenodochial Williams. Okay. I assume these are the people who wrote it. Cool. Cool. Command bin bash image container. Okay. So let's see if we can do Docker. Gonna need a sudo Docker. I think it's just CP. And then, can I get some help on this? Container. Okay. Container :source and then destination. Okay, so container ID. Oh. Container : and then the, let's see, where was it copied? tox4j-cso, right there. Okay, and let's just copy it to right behind me. Successfully copied. Get out of town. Let's go. Projects. Let's look at it. There it is. Look at that. libtox4j-c. I think this is it. I think this is what I was trying to create. Okay, let's cut and let's put this into the, where did I go? Call it source binaries, right? Didn't I have a source file? What? I thought I had. Is that not how I did it? Oh, it's a third party bin. That's what it was. Okay. Third party binary ctox core. Okay, and then can I change the permissions on this? Permissions. Owner. others. I'm not the owner, so I can't change it. That makes sense. Let's just make this a little easier. Oh. Beautiful. Okay. All right. Now available. Okay, and then all I want to do is wherever I'm importing this, which I think is in main Dart right now, up here, we just choose which dynamic library we're opening. So let's say Tox library gets this. Let's say binary. Oh, you know what? I think it was in here too somewhere. There was like a if platform business somewhere. This is just about Dart in general. Dart by. It's like a if platform. This business. String library path. Okay, library path. If platform dot is Linux. Where's platform? Do we need to import this? They include that in here. Dart.io show platform. Okay. Let's get this. Let's just bring in platform here. Platform dot is. Can it still not find it? Platform dot is. Cannot. What's happening? Oh, because I said from. Platform dot nothing? What's happening? Okay, let me write it out like it is something and see if some of these red lines go away so I can focus on the red lines that are remaining. If it's Linux, then this is the path that I would like to use. If it is Android, then the path I want to use is very similar. But it is libtox4j-c. libtox4j-c. Oops. Beautiful. Okay. It's final. Can I take this whole thing and put it inside this? Just temporarily. No, that did not work. I take it back. If platform as an identifier because it's a keyword, try renaming this to be an I. So it thinks this is an identifier. Is there ternary operators? Dynamic library, open library path. This is all working, but not quite. It's like close. Why is this if else so out of whack? It thinks this is an identifier. Oh, is this one of those where I do... Get out of town, folks? No. It's return, right? I don't understand it well enough. Are there ifs in here? Oh, you know what? What about this? What about this? What now? Okay. First, let's make sure this still runs on Linux. And then we'll try on Android, and then we will call it. Okay, still works on Linux. And then, oh god, I still have to start up the emulator. Okay, where was it? I think there's just like an Android SDK emulator bin. No, I think it's just here, and then there's emulator. Oh, but we had to define something, right? AVD. What was it called? Do I still have it somewhere in here? I could have sworn there was something like There it is. There it was. Failed. Oh my gosh, it started back up where it failed last time. This is excellent. Okay, and now we want to run, oh my gosh, what was it called? Something 554, right? Emulator 5554. Oh, that was correct. Okay, now it'll assemble it, run it. Okay, let's see. Might have to split this one into 2 videos. Oh gosh, just can't stop. Okay, is it running? Did it work? Where is it? Ah, failed to load dynamic library, third-party bin, ctox core tox4jc. Okay, so what I did worked to get tox4jc. Not found, but it still couldn't find it. See, this is what's interesting to me. There's no, like, it's like my application isn't quite, it's not getting this. Does it not even find third party? I guess when you build with Flutter or you build with Android, is it like you have to pass in, do you have to declare the application separately? Java resources. This is interesting. So I don't think it's getting this resource. Like Linux is clearly able to, the Linux distribution is clearly able to find this, but I guess the packaging that Gradle does doesn't necessarily include this. Source. They need to be in an assets folder. Interesting. Okay. PubSpec YAML. I need to add an assets folder. Okay. Next time we can see about adding assets. Maybe if I formally declare them as assets, is that what bTox did? Let's see. Yeah, they have an assets folder. Is this where they put all their, this is where they have fonts and images. Okay. That is adorable. That's pretty good. That's pretty impressive. All right. All right. Yeah. Let's stop here. We made great progress today. Cross one thing off the list. Thank you.